guys, Bombbuster72 here again. Last time we talked about firearms and their use during a without rule of law situation. And today we're going to talk about some other methods that you can use to avoid threats. These are what I like to call the C, D, and E strategies. Now what they are, you have camouflage, cover, and concealment. You have deceive and delay. And the E's are escape and evade. Now if the threat is closer than 25 meters to you, you may not be able to do all of these. Don't rule them out, but you also need to be prepared to fight, and you need to be prepared to fight for your life. At distances greater than 25 meters, you have a few more options, and we're going to talk about those. First off, camouflage. Camouflage is something that helps you blend into your environment. I don't expect you to be a sniper in a ghillie suit or anything like that, but you need to think about it wisely. Truly, in an urban environment, your military or hunting camouflage isn't your best option. You need to think about grays and browns and tans and even faded blue jeans, which blend in better with a city-type environment. If you're able to make it out of the city into a more natural environment, yes, you may want to think about the military or hunting-type camouflage. Also, why do people think that black is camouflage? It truly isn't. It actually makes you stand out more in the daytime, whether you're in a city or out in the country. Cover is something that provides you with protection as well as hide your presence. An example would be a brick wall, or a building, even a vehicle, something like that, a berm, something that provides physical protection, keeps you safe from those flying bullets, as well as keeping you away from prying eyes. Now concealment doesn't provide any physical protection, but it does hide you, and you shouldn't rule it out as a good protective and defensive measure. An example would be a privacy fence, or bushes, or even a tree line. A good example and a good use of that would be to travel inside the tree line instead of going across an open field. And next, we have the D's, which are deceive and delay. Deceiving somebody's going to take some imagination on your part, okay? Now, an example of this would be to maybe make your house look like it's already been ransacked so that looters might avoid it. They aren't going to waste their time, hopefully. Deception was used quite extensively during all of our campaigns. In World War II, there were entire fake airfields. The Germans thought that they were real. They suspected attacks in other places because of where these fake planes and airfields were located. Delay gives us the opportunity to do a few things. Either prepare our own attack, or prepare to defend ourselves, or it also might give us the chance to escape. The use of natural and placed barriers to funnel a threat into a location where you want them to be would be a good way of delaying them. This will allow you to either know where they are to attack them or put them off your track while you escape. Now the final strategies are the E strategies, and these are escape and evade. Escape is essentially, well, this is your plan, your bug out plan. How are you going to get out of your house? We all grew up and we knew that we were supposed to have a fire escape plan, and you were supposed to have multiple ones. It's the same with this. You need to have multiple ways to get out of your house and out of your yard and things like that, but you also need to think about how are you going to get out of your neighborhood? How about your city? You need to have multiple ways to do all of that. Evade is a little different in that it implies that somebody's following you. Now if you stay out of sight, you move fast, and you try to keep your movement signs to a minimum, most people are just going to give up. You also may be able to set up an ambush and attack the person following you. But I think this should be your last option, your final option. Because truly, a fight is just going to cause a lot of noise. It draws a lot of attention. And there's no guarantees that you're going to come out of it unscathed. You may be injured or even killed during this ambush, and that's not what you want. You really need to try to avoid the situation as much as possible. Now, if you're being tracked by a professional tracker, and you're not a professional tracker yourself, let's be honest, you're probably not going to escape them for too long. Your best bet is really just to put as much distance as possible between you and them. Naturally, a tracker moves slow. They're methodical. So you need to move as fast as you possibly can. Yes, you need to try to avoid leaving signs behind if you can, but truly speed is your friend here. And let's dispel another rumor. Jumping in and traveling through a river or another body of water really is not a good way of avoiding being followed. All it does is stir up the sediments in the water and actually leaves a pretty good trail behind you. Now if you're using this as a way of deception and you're not really using that water to escape, well, that might be something to think about. Probably the best thing you can do if you're worried about being tracked is to stay on the hard ground, stay on pavement, solid ground, the rocky soil. Stay wherever you can to not leave tracks behind and move as fast as you can. You also need to make multiple movements. You need to move often, change direction often, and make sure that they're pretty sharp angles as well, not just a curving angle. You need to make these frequent turns, but definitely not at the sacrifice of speed. You also need to avoid silhouetting yourself. This means staying away from the ridge lines, the hilltops, things like that. If you have to go over them, crawl over. Go on your belly, do something, but you definitely don't want to silhouette yourself. The human silhouette is identifiable at quite a distance. So these are some of my thoughts on how to avoid threats using my C, D, and E methods. Again, those are C's are camouflage, cover, and concealment. The D's are deceive and delay, and the E's are escape and evade. Next time we're going to talk about first aid and its use during a without rule of law and emergency situation. Until then, take care and be safe.